Running for our lives in springtime. Springtime.
Welcome to Mornings with Mr. Kolton and Nick.
Hi, welcome to Mornings with Mr. Kolton. This is Tulips Part 2. We're checking the next week to see how the tulips are doing, and they're doing even better. They're doing so much better than last week when I saw them. This is the east side, and they are growing great. Oh, these are almost blooming. Here, take a look.
They have tiny seeds.
Yeah, these are the ones that were grown a couple years ago, and they look like they're just about to bloom. That's what they look like before they're just about to bloom. Wait till we get to the other side of the school and you'll actually see a whole bunch of them bloom. Not ours yet. Those are coming. I was thinking about why they're growing so well, the old ones that were planted and not the ones that we planted, because I was telling you how tulips start coming up once the ground temperature gets to about 5 degrees. I was also telling you we planted them around the school when it was almost all the ground was frozen except by the school, and that's because the school itself, the foundation and inside, is giving off heat. And so all these tulips that are growing really well right now, and you're going to see the ones that are already in bloom, they are right against the wall of the building. And that means that area is a little bit warmer than the rest of the soil. And so they're going to grow faster, they're going to grow earlier. That's kind of my theory of why they're growing so well. And ours, which are a little farther away, are taking a little while longer. I bet if we had ones that were even farther away, they would take even longer to bloom. Sometimes. Yeah, I wonder what those are. Another thing about the tulips is, I was telling you how the Dutch government sent them to us to plant because of World War II. And I was learning about it, and in World War II, the Canadian Army were part of the people who liberated Holland in 1945. See, in around 1940, the German Army invaded Holland and actually occupied Holland, which means they kind of set up base there and they took it over. And the Canadian Army, part of the British Army, came and they helped liberate the Holland, as well as I told you that they were having a famine at the time and they couldn't eat anything, so some of them even had to resort to eating the tulip bulbs. And the Canadian Army, the Air Force, was a big part of, they would airdrop food and supplies for the Dutch people. And then the third reason why Holland wanted to show appreciation to Canada about World War II was the royal family. Princess Juliana, who was next in line to the throne at the time to be Queen of Holland, she took refuge in Canada. Her whole family took refuge in Canada, and she was pregnant at the time. And the Canadian government, she was about to give birth in an Ottawa hospital. And one of the rules about being queen or being part of the royal family in Holland is that you have to be born on Dutch soil. You have to be born in Holland. If not, you can't claim the throne. And so what the Canadian government did was they made her room international territory, so that she wasn't born in Canada. She was born outside of Canada and could be born as a Dutch citizen, a pure Dutch citizen. If she was born in Canada, she actually would have been a Canadian citizen. Just like anybody born in Canada becomes a Canadian citizen. It's this rule that we've got. There's a bunch of countries in the world that follow it. It's called jus soli, which means that if you were born on the land in Canada, you had the right to be a Canadian citizen. And so the Dutch royal family didn't want that, so they made her room international territory when she gave birth, so that her daughter, Princess Margaret, could be in line for the throne. And so all those reasons, Holland has since then sent Canada tons and tons of tulip bulbs in appreciation. And in Canada we have one of the biggest international tulip festivals because of it. We're continuing looking at the tulips because Nick's getting a little impatient.
I just saw the tulips. They're growing really well.
Okay, show us the tulips there, Nick.
They're over there.
Oh, here we go.
And
All right, so 115. These are the ones I just showed you. Look how fast they're growing. I mean, compared to what they were when I showed you last time, these are looking fantastic. We're gonna have more of a spaced out bloom, which is kind of nice because we're gonna have these ones that are over here that are already in bloom, and then all these ones are going to bloom a little bit later. So we'll kind of have this staggered bloom. So we'll have blooms for a while, which is really nice.
but there are some.
Yep, these ones are doing great. Look how big those leaves are compared to the ones I showed you last week. And this is 1 week's growth.
Now the grand finale of tulips.
Flowers! Look at these gorgeous tulips.
They're already blooming. It's crazy.
Look how beautiful these are. Ooh, look at that, right in the middle. See, right next to the wall, warmest spot on the west side. That's why these are growing so well. 115, all the ones you planted will eventually look this gorgeous. When the blooms end, these things, the whole top part of it is going to die off. It's going to look like they're going to die in the fall. But they're really not going to die. What they're going to do is the bulb is going to stay in the ground, and that bulb is going to come up again next year. It's going to send the same thing up next year. So it really doesn't matter what happens on top. It's all about that bulb underground that keeps coming up. I think that's it from Wellington. I love visiting the school. I miss the school. I wish you guys were all here. But that's it for today. So thanks for coming to the Mornings with Mr. Kolton, and
Goodbye, have a great morning.
okay, we'll see you later. Bye.
Mornings with Mr. Kolton.